Hey, welcome back to Dollar Views, or I guess I should say Aloha since that's the film on topic today. I'm Brian Gillis, and I'm joined by Steve.
Hello.
So this is Cameron Crowe's latest film. What do you think?
You know what? I made the mistake before this review of going onto Letterboxd and seeing what you said
About what?
about the movies. Yeah, so and I
Oh,
kind of want to hear this right now. I'm really curious to hear what you think, so I'm going to let you go
like you?
first.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I don't know why.
Mhm.
There wasn't anything special about it,
Mhm.
but I really liked it. I gave it 3.5 stars, which if I was still doing the Dollar Views, it would probably be like a 7.1 maybe. Which is really weird because, as far as I can tell, everyone on the internet hates it. As an 18% on Rotten Tomatoes, a 40 on Metacritic. It's a flop, even though it has like a 30 million budget. I think it had something like 12 million this weekend. Maybe it's going to be a little bigger. But I wasn't alone. My theater, I saw it. It's pretty small. There's maybe like 25 people, 30 people in the audience. They were getting laughs throughout the thing. It seemed like everyone enjoyed it. I don't know, maybe it was just because I got off work and I wanted to see something lighthearted, but I connected. I liked the chemistry. I liked the kids. I liked that Cameron Crowe or whoever's casting director obviously saw St. Vincent and then casted Bill Murray and the kid in this film. Yeah, just this was a good lighthearted rom-com. That's kind of the thing that I do, and I hadn't seen one in a while, and I don't know. I felt like I got laid.
All right. Well, I guess I don't. I guess I could describe myself as a fan of Cameron Crowe, or at least almost famous and say anything. Those are probably
I think everyone says those two films.
yeah, those are probably two of my favorite films of all
Uh
time.
huh. I would put
I
Say
mean,
Anything on my list, not Almost Famous.
I'm somewhat a fan of his movies,
Hmm.
and I was. This was actually one of the movies I was most looking forward to this summer.
Yeah, you
I
said that a couple
like,
of weeks ago.
yeah, I think I like the way that he writes characters. They're
Hmm.
always interesting, and the same can be said here. And he's usually good at creating great dramatic situations for characters to interact in. The latter of what I just said, I don't think is around at all. And I think you said I haven't checked Rotten Tomatoes yet, but it's around what, like an 18% or something.
18, yeah.
I don't think that the movie is terrible, but I really don't think that it's good either. It's kind of a mess.
It's
I'm
better than
not.
Vanilla Sky, right? You agree with that?
I really don't remember Vanilla Sky that well
Most
for
people
good
don't.
reason.
It's
But
one of
yeah,
those films.
but I'm really not sure what he's trying to do here.
Hmm.
Just
It has a really weird agenda.
yeah, just it's kind of almost every single scene just feels kind of awkward.
Hmm.
Um, like right away when he lands in Hawaii and he's reunited with his old flame Rachel McAdams. There's just the way that that scene is shot. It's a long, continuous take,
It's
and
definitely weird, especially
yeah,
with the
and
kid
it's
doing
just
the point of view stuff out of his camera.
yeah, and just the camera's just it's handheld and it's just circling around them like it's I don't know. It's like a poor man's Michael Bay shot. I'm not even sure that they really had an actual conversation. I was trying to keep
No,
up,
not
but
really.
I really wasn't sure. I guess it's supposed to be awkward because
Yeah.
they haven't seen each other in a while, but it's almost every other conversation is like that in the entire movie. And there's this weird supernatural element that's thrown in about Hawaiian culture that's brought up by the kid, and
Yeah, it's
then
pretty prevalent.
it comes out throughout. And I really don't know what he's going for.
Yeah, I can't really speak on that.
Yeah.
For me, what I think it was, like you said, you're expecting this. It was one that your biggest of the film, the summer, besides like Trainwreck. I had no expectations. We talked about this a couple days ago. You were like, you gonna see that? I was like, no, I'm definitely not gonna see that. And I looked at the schedule. And I was like, well, that's the only thing that I could even think about seeing. And so maybe just going in with an absolute blank slate, without being a super fan of his. I haven't seen We Bought a Zoo. I hadn't seen Elizabethtown. So this is the most recent film I've seen of his, like since Vanilla Sky. But yeah, I definitely agree. There's some weird stuff going on with the Hawaiian mythology. But I didn't really look too far into it. I thought it was kind of just playful. I think what the bigger problem is, not necessarily for me, but as far as the internet is, and I touched upon this at the end of the San Andreas podcast, was the Emma Stone Asian casting. Well, almost Asian casting. If you don't know, her character is half Swedish, a quarter Chinese, and a quarter Hawaiian, and she really plays that Hawaiian card pretty strong in the film. Her last name is, was it Nig? Ning. It's
Yeah,
just
Ning.
NG.
NG. Yeah.
And so yeah, I can see why people are upset about that, and it is not pivotal to the plot, but pretty important.
They try to make every chance that they can. They try to make an excuse for it.
And it does have a payoff, but I don't know. I didn't see a big problem with it.
I
Just because I have met Asian people or black people or Hispanic people that look absolutely nothing like what they claim to be, and I'm like, look at them like, oh, you're Caucasian like I am. So I wasn't. I mean, obviously, I'm not the demographic to be offended by this. So, but I didn't think it was that big of a deal, especially since, I mean, this isn't pointing any fingers, but one of the people that was offended is a half-breed Asian. So is she saying like I'm half Asian, I'm more Asian than she is, or is it just because that Emma Stone is in fact known to be a white actress? Like if she was an unknown and she looked that way, would people give a fuck? Or
Well, just looking at it from a character standpoint, it is a unique character to present, and I think
oh yeah,
I want to say that they had the best intentions for that to try to do something different.
I hope so.
But I wouldn't really have a problem with that if and I guess I still don't really have a problem with that. It's just because my problems with the movie, it's just there's other things that are
Yeah, it's story wise.
yeah, just it's a bigger mess. But I really don't have much energy to just be offended by that. But I don't really think it works. I don't think there's any legitimate excuse to.
No, it's not really necessary.
I typically don't care about these things. As far as characters, I just think hey, race, whatever, just. Cast whoever you think is best for the role.
Regardless of what you look like or where you're from, your words that you say are the same.
At the same time, though, I do think you probably could have cast someone that was actually
For sure.
Asian, yeah. And so maybe it is. Hollywood absolutely isn't perfect, and that's definitely a problem that we have.
I hope we're changing.
I don't know.
Though.
I don't know. Show business is a mess. I mean, I can't start making excuses for it.
Yeah, we're not in the biz yet, so we can't really,
One day, man.
Hopefully. One day more. But yeah, it just worked for me in terms of the chemistry. Like, it was definitely awkward, especially towards the beginning, but I thought Emma Stone and Bradley Cooper, their chemistry was good. I liked Rachel McAdams off of Bradley Cooper. I even liked the stoic, what's his name from The Office? Oh man, what's his name?
John Krasinski.
John Krasinski. I loved him, even though he probably had maybe 10 lines in the film.
He had some of the best scenes in the movie. Those are in the trailer too, though.
Oh, see, well, I didn't see the trailer, so.
Oh, okay.
I loved it. My audience loved it too. They're laughing our asses off. But yeah, I think the bigger problem, and I did read this in one of the Letterboxd reviews I just read, wasn't necessarily in the Emma Stone casting, but also that this is a film that takes place on Pacific Island. And yet, 90% of the cast is white. And, we just touched upon this, but that's pretty weird. But it's not that far-fetched, especially when you compare this to something that is pretty equal footing. The Descendants, which, what was that, 2012?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah, Payne, Jonathan, was it Jonathan?
Alexander
Payne. Yeah, Alexander Payne's The Descendants, pretty similar territory. It's about a Hawaiian family who's going through some turmoil, and kinda, and it's just a dramedy really rooted in Hawaiian culture, and yet that film, just like this one, is predominantly white.
I mean, I can't say I have, like I said earlier, there is obviously a race problem with Hollywood, but at the same time, there is talent on screen, and that's I have I don't know, I just have a hard time of getting too upset, but I can't like shut down anyone's argument for any legit reason. If people are offended by that, then hey, that's fine. But yeah, with Emma Stone, that's crossing the line for sure. And I do think she has great energy in the role, but that kind of is pushing it, and
I think
that is like absolutely whitewashing on the surface.
Yeah, they could have done a much better job of incorporating. Like, I'm sure, that Cameron Crowe probably wanted her. He probably wrote for her because she seems very much like the character. I think it's a shame that her character's culture or racial background is foreshadowing the job that she does. I mean, she's not going to win an award for this film, but I don't know. I think a lot of people are going to avoid it for that reason.
Well, yeah, but people have every reason to be upset, and it makes sense.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. It's not uncalled for. It's just, I don't know. I think if one of the bigger things of your week is complaining about an actress getting a job, then you're looking at the wrong things. There's worse things going on.
Well, speaking of worse things, at least for me anyway, I wasn't offended by the Emma Stone character, but as far as just my storytelling sensibilities, just as an audience, I felt offended.
Yeah, so it rushes a lot of things, and
I
it
think,
doesn't really speak on a lot of things.
This
It's
is
just
where
in the
I'm.
background.
This is where I'm most disappointed. Is just the there is never any honest drama throughout, and which is something that Cameron Crowe usually gets right. With Say Anything, all of his work, everything that's happening with the characters, everything feels genuine. The emotions, they feel believable. Here, everything is incredibly forced in really weird ways too. When we first we get exposition on Bradley Cooper's character after him and Emma Stone meet, and the way that that's handled is he just puts on a pair of headphones
scene.
And he intercepts her call.
No, I didn't mean that. I meant something later.
You hear like her just quoting off his file, or just putting her opinions out there.
I took this as I wasn't looking for something deep. Wasn't looking for a Cameron Crowe film. I was just looking for entertainment. And I was entertained. I was laughing. I liked the romance. I liked some of the stuff going on. And it's like you said, yeah, it wasn't dramatic. But I have to ask you this. If this wasn't a Cameron Crowe film, would people be upset? Would they be let down?
I still think, just even as a romantic comedy, it makes no sense whatsoever. And this is definitely, it's still, regardless of Cameron Crowe, whoever, it's really weird and out there. It's trying to do different things, and it doesn't succeed at them.
Mm-hmm.
Just when it comes to the romance, I mean, it's what, I guess, there's like two going on at the same time, kind of, because he goes back to see Rachel McAdams,
there's
and
like two and a half.
It seems like they're trying to force there to be some tension there, but there isn't really, and it's not really a big deal till John Krasinski walks out.
I mean, that's not even a thing though. Like that's very, very little on the film. Like, I don't know. The way I saw it is just, this is what life is like as ex-military, or as an ex-soldier. I guess he's more than a soldier. As once you get kicked out of the army and you go to the dark side, how shitty your life gets. And then this guy reaches rock bottom, like he's blown to bits, like he should have died.
He's kind of
he's
wandering
a horrible
through limbo
person.
In a way.
Yeah, exactly. And it's about him meeting the person that, to quote the film, shines his light again. Like, I just like that. And yeah, it wasn't done well.
I am a sucker for stories like that. There is no way that they really connect whatsoever. There's just one night they go to a party and she dances with Bill Murray, and that's, I was just reminded of just John Krasinski and how the conflict, if you even want to say that there is one, they act like there is one, but there really isn't between Bradley Cooper and John Krasinski. There's a lot of funny scenes in there where they just stand and just look at each other. You can see those in the trailer, but there's one in particular that's brilliant.
Yeah, the one towards the end.
Yeah, but I mean,
so
John Krasinski probably has the easiest acting job because he doesn't really have to say anything.
But he does it so well.
Just has to stand there. Even a letter is being said for him. The one line of his that I can remember that makes no sense in this movie whatsoever, he just says, "I love my yard."
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's like his only real line, like not a one word answer or a hello. That is his line.
I mean, that's all he says, and it just seems. Then he just walks away.
It's so counter to his character,
and it's just adding to the weirdness of this movie. And I mean, nothing here makes any sense.
Yeah, I don't think this film was great.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it personally. Like, I liked it. Maybe it's because I had a long day of work before I sat down in the theater, but it was entertaining, and like I said, I like rom-coms. I hadn't seen a good one in a while, and this isn't great, but it was good enough for me to enjoy it.
No, and I will say that there are quite a few genuinely funny moments in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, overall, I don't hate it, and it isn't by any means good. It's definitely a failure, but I do think it is an interesting failure, and it might be worth looking back to just to see what the hell it is that they're trying to do. Though, another thing to keep in mind is I am not sure if we are seeing Cameron Crowe's cut, just because there was controversy.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
Well, there was controversy early on with the production. I think it was supposed to come out back in December.
Oh. So they were trying to make this Oscar picture.
Yeah, and even the Sony leaks, I think
they're all posted on the internet. Anyone can see them. They're on WikiLeaks now.
They reveal that the movie wasn't testing well.
Wow.
Yeah, so there was...
I must be the odd man out.
There was a lot going against this movie going in, and I really didn't want to believe it because, I like Cameron Crowe. I think he does interesting work.
Yeah.
But... So yeah, I mean, I don't know if we'll see a director's cut. If we do, I'm guessing it would probably be worse. But this is, it's not conventionally bad, which I find to be much more insufferable. It's a bummer that I don't think for me it turned out to work out at all. But it's still, if you're as interested in film as both of us are, I guess, it is at least worth looking into just to see how things can go wrong or right when you try to do something different.
Or you're just like me and you enjoy it for some reason. I don't know. Because I admit there's like a lot of faults going on, especially with the military storyline. But I liked it. I can't explain it. Like when I watched it, I went online, I read some of the reviews, I was like, well, what movie were these people watching? I think that closes about everything we can for Aloha. So aloha again, because it does mean hello and goodbye. If you enjoyed this show, be sure to find us online on Twitter, at Brian Gillis. It's BRYONGILLIS. Additionally, that same name is on Letterboxd, where I log everything I watch. It's my film diary.
All right, you can find me on Twitter at S_MTX. And if you want to follow my film viewing activity, you can find me at letterboxd.com/S_MTX, where I rate movies as I watch them, and I occasionally write brief reviews.
Thanks, and we'll be back soon. Hope you enjoyed the show.